Rachel, and I'm one of the board members for Sunrise Daisy Retreat. I am the director of grant development in addition to doing lots of other little things. I am not a cancer survivor myself, but my mom, Linda, who I'm here with, is a cancer survivor. So today I wanted to talk to her about what her experience was like. The way I know about Sunrise Daisy Retreat is that I've known Val for more than 20 years and sort of watched her whole experience. Valerie, the director of Sunrise Daisy Retreat, before, during, and after having cancer herself. So Mom, you want to tell us a little bit about your cancer story?
Okay. I was diagnosed approximately 30 years ago, and at the time it seemed like a devastating diagnosis because my mom had had ovarian cancer and died from it, and my Aunt Helen had had breast cancer in both breasts and died from it. And so getting cancer of any type was bad news. I was diagnosed in Denver, and after I received the diagnosis, in just one day I read a whole book. I'm a book reader. Before those were the days. So my diagnosis takes us way back to the way treatment used to be. And so those were the days when things were done fast. You weren't offered the option of maybe radiation first, or some of the things, or genetic testing didn't exist. But I was offered the option of a mastectomy versus a partial mastectomy, a lumpectomy. And I chose a mastectomy because the concept of doing radiation seemed gruesome to me. And to other people, preserving their breast would seem more important, but not to me. I was stage 1, but being stage 1 didn't matter because there was the word cancer right there.
Right.
So that's my brief story.
Okay. And then you've been cancer-free since that time?
I've been cancer-free since that time. But I was depressed for a year.
Right.
I took antidepressive medicine, went for counseling for a year.
Yeah.
It wasn't easy, and it wasn't easy because of my background.
Right. That makes sense. So if you could go back in time and tell yourself some things to that person who was 40-something and first getting cancer, what would you say?
I would say that overall, the experience changed my life for the better. And I never would have believed that back when. You're kidding me. No way. It changed my life for the better because I felt I was more useful to society. I facilitated a breast cancer support group for 17 years, which was very fulfilling. And I also worked as a medical librarian at a cancer center, MD Anderson, for 19 plus years. And even though I'd been a librarian before then, I found that interacting with patients and helping patients just was immensely satisfying, especially if it was appropriate to share my story or say that I was a cancer survivor, because I interacted with cancer patients of all kinds. But I knew where the people were coming from. I knew how scared they were.
Right.
And I could identify with them. And I found researching things for them, which clinical trial should they pick, giving them information to enable them to make decisions, was immensely satisfying. I enjoyed being a librarian before then, I was mostly, I guess you'd say, a reference librarian in a public library, and that was fulfilling, but I didn't realize how very fulfilling being a medical librarian could be.
Right, and that sounds like something you would not have
I
done.
would not at all have picked it, or even thought of it,
Right.
had I not had my diagnosis.
So you've told me before that when you were recovering, you felt like you needed to tell people your story. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
I did, and that was one reason I sought out a support group. And after I belonged to the support group for a year, the leader of the support group decided that she wanted to do even more intense cancer-related things. She became citywide director of, now I've forgotten, it's the group that visits people in the hospital after they've been diagnosed, to tell them where they can get supplies and exercises and things like that. I don't know why I can't remember the name of that group.
Oh,
anyway,
that's
I was asked to be facilitator, and I enjoyed that. Even though there were rough spots, I enjoyed that a lot, because I could, in addition to providing a forum for people to exchange their stories, I had a lot of medical knowledge, and I could share that. I ended up going to a lot of conferences. There's a conference in San Antonio, a huge conference once a year, and many times I went to that, and I also wrote articles for a newsletter for our group, which was called the Rosebuds. It was called the Rosebuds because way back when, in the history of breast cancer, there was a breast cancer activist whose name was Rose Kushner, and so we were called Rosebuds after Rose Kushner.
So my memory is that the Rosebuds also provided mammograms for low-income women, is that right?
For low-income women, they also provided mammograms for anybody who came to their facility. And so most people paid a normal price. It was a standalone facility, not affiliated with any hospital. But for people who couldn't afford a mammogram, there was a sliding scale based on their income. And so yes, they did provide mammograms for low-income women.
That's great.
That was a needed service. Yeah.
So it sounds like for you, really diving into all the cancer information and getting involved in the support groups is really helped you get through this.
Yes, for me, I needed to immerse myself in it all and attain knowledge and help other people. But I have a friend who's a pathologist, and when she was diagnosed with breast cancer, she couldn't even read her own pathology report. She never did. So for her, coping was entirely different. So each person has to find their own way.
Right, definitely. So other than learning more about cancer and really making it your career, what are some other things that helped you in your healing process?
To begin with, when I was depressed, someone told me that you really don't have to worry the whole day long. And their suggestion was to put those little sticky dots that you might use at a garage sale, like maybe a yellow one for a 25-cent item, on the wall in various places. And whenever I would walk around the house, I would see a sticky dot here or a sticky dot there. And, oh, okay, I can worry now, but I don't have to worry the rest of the day. That helped. Also, celebrations, like celebrating, I I celebrated 10-year milestones. My friend Sandra gave me a bracelet to celebrate that fact that I'd survived 10 years, and then I bought myself another one for 20 and another one for 30, and I wear them all the time. They're just not a constant reminder, but they're very important to me. So celebrating survival is important to me, at least. And I guess also I learned the lesson that history doesn't have to repeat itself. My mom died at age 49, and 49 was a hard year for me because living longer than my mom, who also had cancer, just seemed odd, and I wondered whether I'd repeat her history. But especially with the advances we've made, it's less and less likely for history to repeat itself. So I learned that I needn't have been afraid that whole year.
Right. Well, congratulations on making it just past 49.
I'm way past 49 now.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thanks, Mom, for sharing your story. So here at Sunrise Daisy, we recognize, like my mom was talking about, that different people process their cancer experience and their healing in different ways. And so for some people, really learning more about it and researching and helping others is a way that they can move forward and heal. And for other people, it might be something totally different, like exercise or immersing yourself in nature or social activities, all sorts of different things. So for my next vlog, I really like gardening and being outside and doing creative things. So I will probably be talking to you about things you can do in the garden to help you heal and move forward. All right, thank you.